திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். ஆடம்பரிவேல் அணி சேவல் என பாடும் பணியே பணியாய் அருள்வாய் தேடும் கயமா முகனை செருவில் சாடும் தனியானை சகோதரனே. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். தென்னாடுடைய சிவனே போற்றி, என் நாட்டவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி, ஏகம்பத்துரையந்தாய் போற்றி, பாகம் எண்ணூறு ஆனாய் போற்றி, பராய்த்துறை மேவிய பரணே போற்றி, சிராப்பள்ளி மேவிய சிவனே போற்றி, அண்ணாமலையம் அண்ணா போற்றி, கண்ணாரமுத கடலே போற்றி, காவாய் கனக திரளே போற்றி, கைலை மலையானே போற்றி போற்றி, வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு அரோகரா. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம். அண்ட சராசரங்களுக்கெல்லாம் அதிபதியாக வழங்கக்கூடிய முருகப்பெருமானுடைய ஒப்பற்ற பெருங்கருணையினாலே ஞானத்திரள் சார்பாக நம்முடைய அன்பிற்குரிய கத்தார் சரவணன் தம்பதியினுடைய நல்ல ஆதரவினாலே தி ஹோலி டெய்டிஸ் ஆஃப் சைவம் என்கிற தலைப்பில் வழிபாட்டுக்காக எழுந்தருளி இருக்கக்கூடிய சைவ மூர்த்தங்களை பற்றிய தொடர் ஒளிபரப்பு ஆங்கிலத்திலே நிகழ திருவருள் கூட்டியிருக்கிறது. அதில் இரண்டாவது அத்தியாயமாக லார்ட் முருகா என்பது பற்றி நாம் தொடர்ந்து சிந்தித்து வருகிறோம். We have been discussing the various deities for Lord Muruga being worshipped in temples and in sculptures, in paintings and in various forms. Lord Muruga is being worshipped by Saivats. As a matter of fact, we have been discussing the last session four such deities, and today we are going to continue the list. We are going to continue the list of various types of forms. Those are approved by our Agamam. So kindly bear it in mind that unless otherwise Agamam approves it, we cannot worship that particular form of deity. There are rules and regulations, there are details available how to worship Lord Muruga in various forms of deities, in various forms as a matter of fact. Beyond that, we are not permitted to form our own Lord Muruga. That is why it is not recommended. It is not recommended to purchase the pictures of Lord Shiva, Lord Muruga, Goddess Shakti or Vinayaka. We should not purchase the paintings or the drawings wherever we want, because they may not, the artists, those who would have drawn the paintings, may not be aware of the rules, basic rules or the basic things to be followed and observed. So that is why it is not recommended that we should not purchase. We should purchase only from the authorized. For example, we can purchase a particular picture in a temple approved by them. They will be selling pictures, Moolavar, Urchavar, likewise they will be selling. Those are the approved pictures of the available deities in the particular temple. So either the painting should conform to the rules stipulated in Agamams, and then only we can use it for our puja. We can install it in our house. Of course, in temples they will take all precautions, they will observe all rules before they install the statue in the temple. As a matter of fact, Karuvarai. You understand? Okay, now we have been discussing about various forms of Lord Muruga approved by the Agamam. They approved by Agamam. One type of the form approved by Agamam is Sri Kumarar. Sri Kumarar. Suppose if this form is taken for worship or prayer or performing puja, then we must observe all the rules. There is a grammar for this statue. There is a grammar for this form. We should follow the grammar. See, this form of Lord Muruga has single countenance with the four arms. On the right hand side, he is holding Shakti. He is holding Shakti. Correspondingly, on the left hand side, he is holding a rooster. It's not a flag. The rooster itself he is holding. Sometimes he will hold a flag wherein the rooster will be appearing. But whereas here he is holding the rooster itself. Like Lord Shiva holding a deer. He is holding a rooster or a cock. Okay. What about the other two hands? On his right, he is holding a sword. Correspondingly, he is holding a shield. He is having a single countenance. You can just see, and a single face with the four hands. And on his right side, his consort, Srimati Baldi, is also showing darshan for our blessing, for getting the blessing of Baldi. Baldi is also present there on his right hand side. We have given enough explanations about the consort Baldi in our last sessions. So, this is called Sri Kumarar. Sri Kumarar will be in this form in temples. If in Karuvarai, in Moolavar, if this statue is installed, then this will be the details and we can just observe all these details. Okay, now he is reddish in color and other details, of course, it depends on the sculpture, on the artist who draws the picture. But this is the basic thing that we should observe, and we should not go beyond the rules. We cannot deviate from the basic rules. The next form we are going to have darshan of Shan, Mukher. In the name itself, you can understand Shan, Mukher means Shat means 6. So, the Moolavar, the primary deity, he will be having 6 faces. 6 faces. You just see that with 6 faces means he is having 12 hands, and then you can also see his 12 eyes, and he is seated on a peacock along with his consorts Baldi and Devayani. See, on his right hand side, in his hands he is holding Shakti, and then an arrow, and then a katkam, and then a flag, and then a gata, and one hand is showing the blessing style. One hand is in blessing style, abhayam. And on the left hand side, you can see a bow, vajram, a lotus, a shield, a sulam, and then the last one corresponding to the blessing is varadam. Varadam means the form will be showing the feet. Form will be showing the feet. So, this is the form of Shanmukher, and this type of Shanmukher is installed in many temples, and if you can see the Moolavar itself, in some temples it will be in a statue form as Urchavan. In some temples it will be Moolavar itself will be like this. You understand? Okay. Now this is the, if you go to Tirutani, you can just see the Shanmukher giving darshan to the devotees, and in other temples also. If you go to Viralimalai, of course, in Viralimalai, Valli and Devayane will not be seated on his sides, but they will be separately standing, if I am correct. If you go to Mylapore, Mylapore also, but instead he will be seated on an elephant, and both Valli and Devayane, both of them also, they will be sitting on two kutti elephants, small elephants, they will be sitting on them. Okay, nice. Okay, this is the second one, Shri Shanmukher. Now let us go to the next one, the Taragari. Taragari, it may mean, what I understand, it may means that he killed the demon Tarahan, the Ashura king Tarahan, the younger most brother of Surabadman, with his veil. The light that is emitted from his form is compared to 1 crore suns light. So, unimaginable, uncomparable, immeasurable light of the sun can be imagined from his body. Now, this form will have 12 hands. He will not be accompanied by his consorts, and there is no peacock with him, and you just notify the details of this form Tarahari. In his 12 hands, if you just see the left hand, the leftmost, the bottommost hand, the palm will be showing the pointing down to the lotus feet, and you can just see it will be holding Angusam, and then Valli, Katkam, bow, Vajram, and then if you just see here on the right hand side, Abhayam, that is the blessing style, and Pasam, Shakaram, the wheel, Katkam, Ulakkai, and then Shakti. So, all these things, all are weapons. You will be using them for shielding or protecting his devotees from the evils. Okay. Now, this type of form, the Taragari, is after the destruction of Tarakan. The form he has given the pose for the uh, for his army to worship, in the battlefield. You understand? Okay. Now let us come to the next one, Senani. Senani, Sri Senani, he will be sitting on his throne. If you just look at him, 12 hands, 6 faces, what a majestic look he is having. And in his 6 hands, if you just see blessing hand, sword holding, and then chakra, and then sulam, and then shakti, and then here on the left hand side Varadam, that is pointing down to the feet, and then Vajram, lotus, then the Pasam, Dandam, and Gadai. Okay? All these things, all these weapons he will be holding, and this form is known as Senani. Okay? Okay, we will come to the next deity of Lord Muruga, known as Brahma Sasta. Brahman, once upon a time, he was unable to understand the lordship of Lord Muruga, and he thought him as an ordinary child. He was not having the idea that this is not a child, this is another form of Lord Shiva. So if he would have understood, he would not have done that mistake, and when he understood the basic fact, he surrendered himself to Lord Muruga and worshipped him to bless him with pranava. So that posture is given here. If you just see a single face, a single countenance, and with the 4 hands, one set of hands, the right hand is giving a blessing style, and the left one is pointing down to the lotus feet, and another set of hands, one is holding Achya Sutram. It is called Achya Sutram. If you just have a close look of the form, just a moment. If you just have a close look, it is a small garland he is holding with the beads, and number of beads, Achya Sutram, 8 multiples of 8 or something like that. It will have Achya Sutram. Achya Mandiram is the king of the Achya Mandiram. So he is holding that, and correspondingly in the other hand he is holding a kamandalam, a small pot on his left hand side. So as a matter of fact, this kamandalam and this Achasutram, both of them are the belongings of Lord Muruga, but blessed with Brahman. Brahman was performing the creation duty. These are what we can call is the indications for a creator. So he was holding them, and Brahma, he came and surrendered. Again Lord Muruga will bless him and give him the post of Brahman, and he will be accepting, or he will be agreeing to be continuing in the post of creation. So he will be blessing him with these two, Kamandalam and Archasutram. Okay, now let us go to Baldi Kalyana Sundarar, the next one. In this posture, we can just see that Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, he was actually, as a matter of fact, Devayani is belonging to the heaven, but whereas Valli is belonging to the earthly people. As a matter of fact, she was brought up in a hunter family in Valli Malai, So Valli should also be married to Lord Muruga in the style of the heaven, So Thirumal came forward to perform the marriage once again. It already happened in the Hunter's Mountain, but here also it's once again carried out with being mantra and the yagyam performed by Brahma, and this marriage scene, it has been given as a posture with Valli, Valli and Thirumal. This is known as Sri Valli Kalyana Sundarar. As a matter of fact, if you just see, the only change we can notify for Lord Muruga with already the Brahma Sastra, if you just see the Brahma Sastra and this one, if you just notify that his hands details, all the three hands on the right and left, all the three hands, two hands in the right and one hand in the left, it corresponds, the three hands correspond to the Brahma Sastra. Only change is in the left hand corresponding to the blessing hand. That one, instead of it is being Varadam, that is pointing towards the lotus feet, it is being held at his waist, Ukkam Serthiyadu Urukai, that it is called as Ukkam Serthiyadu. So that is the only change. Valli is also present there. Of course, they are in the wedding posture, and Thirumal is also additionally available, and Brahma is also available. This is very nice this thing, and it is called Valli Kalyana Sundarar. And now the next one is Krauncha Bedanar. We are going to see Krauncha Bedanar. The name itself clearly indicates that Lord Muruga, when he destroyed, when he was doing the war with Tarakan, Tarakan was having a mountain on his side called Krauncham. So the mountain is with all mayas, and so it has to be broken to go through, and so Lord Muruga, he just threw his veil and it went and it pierced the mountain, and it, as a matter of fact, they crumbled into stones, small stones. The whole mountain was crumbled, and this posture is known as Krauncha Bedanar. In Krauncha Bedanar, if you just notify, of course, in Krauncha Bedanar, in the war field, he will be having only 6 faces. War posture, all war postures, he will be having 6 faces. Suppose of course, the hands will be different in number. Not all the 12 hands will be there. Of course, 12 will be there or 6 will be there, likewise. here in Krauncha Vedanar, if you just notify, there are 6 faces and 6 hands. 6 faces, 8 hands, 8 hands, you see, 6 faces and 8 hands, 6 countenances and 8 hands. And the details are, one is blessing style, correspondingly another one is Varadam, it is pointing towards the lotus feet. See, either the one hand will be Abhayam, another will be Varadam, or either one will be Abhayam, another will be Ukkam Seti, it will be the waist. So, likewise would be there the one set of hands. In the another left hand and right hand hands, he is holding a sword and then a bow and Sakti, and then on the left hand side he is holding Varadam, and we have already explained, one is Kulisam, bow, and the Kadayam, that is shield, is holding. Now let us come to the last one, the Krauncha Vedanar, and then the last one, Sikhi Vakanar. Again the name itself indicates that he is seated on a peacock, it should be on the peacock. Of course, here he is not sitting there, he is standing posture. The peacock is accompanying him, and if you just see there, he is having 4 hands, single face. He was very peaceful face, 4 hands. One set is Abhayam and Varadam, that is blessing style, one hand, one right hand side hand, another corresponding left hand side pointing towards the lotus feet, and then on the right hand side he is holding Sakti on the right hand side. Correspondingly on the left hand side he is holding, if you just having a good look, he is having a Kulisam, You understand? I am not able to look at it very clearly on the screen, that is why I am referring the main picture. Okay. Then we have to thank Tiruvaduri Adhinam, the Tiruvaduri Mutt. They have released these authenticated, authorized forms of Lord Muruga approved by our Agam. So, likewise there are lot of forms of course we have discussed the main important forms of Lord Murugan. There are some other forms are also available, of course not very popular or familiar. These are all the familiar and very popular forms which we have so far discussed. See, away from these, there are certain deities, we should of course know, because they are all of historical importance they are having. Of course, people may ask why these deities are worshipped, whether they are approved by agamas. If you just ask, we may answer that these statues or these forms are approved by the great people of ancestors who are having very close contact with Lord Muruga, and they were blessed by him, and they had the rights to install these type of or worship these type of forms. Okay. Now, for example, I will give, if you go to Tiruvannamalai temple, there is very one important Sannadhi. People will be swarming and they will be rushing, there will be a lot of rush for worship, for the worship of the deity. That Lord Murugan is called Kambathu Ilayanar. If you just ask me how this Kambathu Ilayanar is installed, if you ask me, you must understand one basic fact that this Karuvari statue or the Karuvar Moolavar statue is not a separate statue. It is depicted on a pillar. On a mandapam, it is a, see, it's a, there was a pillar, there is a pillar. In the pillar, the sculpture is available. This Kambathu, that is why it is called a Kambathu. Kambam means here, means the pillar. Ilayanar, it is meaning Lord Muruga. Kambathu Ilayanar. Lot of prayers are offered, pujas are performed, people are swarming in, people are going and worshipping. Of course, if you call, is that a part and parcel of the temple? I do not know how it is being treated, but it is a powerful deity there. The history runs like this. That is, there is one Sambandhandan, Prabhupada Devarayan, the king, was very close to him. That Sambandhandan, he was very jealous about our Srimati Arunagirinathar. Arunagirinathar never goes near the king. He is away, but his king is only Lord Muruga, and he will be always worshipping him, and he will not go after the rich or the kings, praising them and unnecessarily flattering them. That he won't do. But Sambandhandan was having very close contact with the king, and he was very jealous about these our Arunagirinathar, because he was earning lot of popularity among the devotees and people. People are running after him, and people are crazy about his Tirupugal, and they are very powerful songs he was singing, and those powerful songs, when they are uttered in the presence of Lord Muruga, the people were benefited, people are benefited by whatever they require. That much powerful the songs are. So Tirupugal getting so much of popularity, and subsequently Arunagirinathar also is getting so much of popularity, and king also very fond of him. Even though Arunagirinathar is not visiting, he was not visiting the king often. Of course, the king was having a soft corner for Srimati Arunagirinathar. Some or other, Sambandhandan planned to get an enmity with the king for Arunagirinathar. Arunagirinathar should get some enmity, and he should be driven away by the king. He should be punished. That's what he thought. So people are like this. If you have close contacts, if you are benefited, why don't you be quenched with that? Unnecessarily, people out of jealousy, they are doing lot of crimes. So likewise, Sambandhandan also, he was not quenched what he thought, but he thought the Arunagirinathar should be punished, should be driven away, something like that he thought. So he went and complained to Lordship that he would be able to bring Goddess Shakti for his personal darshan. He said, "Oh my king, you are going to temple and worshipping goddess. Why you are going there? I will ask her. I will bring her in your presence. I will bring her. You have a direct darshan of Goddess Shakti." Then the king wondered, is it possible? You have so much of power. Yes, I am having so much of power, I can do that. You have a direct darshan of goddess. Say, the king was fascinated by the idea. Okay, we will have it. Like that he said. But the cunning fellow didn't stop there. he was adding, likewise you can also worship Lord Muruga. He said, how? Srimati Arunagirikar is having very close contact with Lord Muruga. If he calls him, Ange vandu en mun thondruvane, he has been singing like this. Inge ninaikinum, Ange vandu en mun thondruvane. Likewise he is singing. So, wherever he calls, Lord Muruga will be present. So, you also ask him to come to the Sabai, to the kingdom, and ask him to bring Lord Muruga in the presence of the people. And of course, you can make a direct worship of Lord Muruga also, he said. Some or other, the king was attracted by the idea, and he nodded his head, and he called Arunagirikar and told him, you please make arrangements for Lord Muruga to appear in my presence. I should see him. Because Samantha Andan has agreed to bring Goddess Shakti in front of me. I am going to have darshan of Shakti and also Lord Muruga. Please make arrangements. He asked. Arunagirikar understood the net. That fellow made a trick, and some or other he was planning to remove me out of the good books of the king. Some or other he wants to create some enmity between me and the king. He understood. Okay, the day came. Samantha Andan and Arunagirikar assembled, and others also assembled. King came and he ordered that the arrangements can be made, and he ordered Samantha Andan to make the goddess Shakti to be present, Kali to be present. So he started doing all sorts of mandras, tandras, yandras, everything he was doing, but she did appear. She did appear. So the king was disappointed. What is this? He said. Then he said, oh, some or other I am not able to do that now. But you can ask Lord Arunagirikar, to bring Lord Muruga in your presence. Then he asked the Muruga to be present by Lord Muruga to be present by our Arunagirikar. Okay, Arunagiri, you do your arrangements, sing or call or perform any puja, do anything. But I should have a darshan of Lord Muruga, he said. He is a very nice man, of course, very nice man, having very nice bhakti, everything is okay. But somewhere or other he is falling for the trick of Samantha Andan. Okay, then Arunagirikar started praying sincerely, and Lord Muruga doesn't appear for his efforts, and he somehow or other found out that Goddess Shakti is preventing Lord Muruga to go and be present in Tiruvannamalai. Then somehow or other he sang us a dancing song, Adara, Sedana, Ada, likewise he sang a song, and Lord Muruga came out of the holding of Goddess Shakti, and on the peacock he appeared from the pillar in the Sabha. He just emerged from the pillar in a sculpture. That sculpture where he emerged out and showed his darshan for Samantha Andan, for Samantha Andan's challenge. The king had a darshan and Samantha Andan didn't have darshan. Of course, the king had darshan. Our Arunagirikar had darshan. Then the king fell at the feet of Arunagirikar. Oh, please excuse me, I have fallen to the trick of Sambandha Andan. You are very great. He accepted. So that place where Lord Muruga emerged in peacock out of the pillar, that sculpture, is being worshipped as Kambatti Ilayanar. So out of the regular routine deities, I am just naming some deities which are very famous because of the historical facts. So it is very, very a nice place. If you go to Tiruvannamalai, there are agamas installed statues are there, but this one is peculiar and a special and a unique one where you should go and have a darshan. Okay. Likewise, another place I can mention is this Tiruporur. Tiruporur, the temple was built by Sidambaram Swamigal. He came from the south, and Porur is a very famous place, about 45 kilometers, 40 to 45 kilometers from Chennai on the Mahabalipuram road, ACR road. It is a very famous temple. There the main deity, primary deity, is made up of palm tree. So when Sidambaram Swamigal, the saint Sidambaram Swamigal, when he was trying to build this temple, he was not successful for the first time, and only he was being informed that the primary deity should be in wood. Even today, if you go there, the primary deity is in wood, and the abhishekams are not performed for that deity. As a matter of fact, they are having another set of statues, Lord Muruga with his consorts. Only for them, the abhishekam, aradhana, other things are being performed. If you go over there, you can see. So it is a unique, place, a unique primary deity installed in a temple, very famous temple. If you go over there, you can see the temple tank. It's a very, very nice tank. The water will be there for throughout this 365 days. So such a nice place, and that we can see the place there. Okay, out of interest, I want to mention two more places where the main deities or the primary deities are of our interest because of the historical facts. The one is the Kumarakota in Kanchipuram. Of course, the Kanchipuram, it is having a very ancient history for Kumarakotam. Why I am mentioning Kumarakotam? Because our Pamban Swamigal, Srimad Pamban Kumarakota Swamigal, when he was on the pilgrimage, when he was there at Kanchipuram, he was not aware of this Kumarakotam. As a matter of fact, Kumarakotam finds an important place in Kandapuranam, because Kandapuranam by Kachiyappa Sivacharya was the chief priest. Kachiyappa Sivacharya was the chief priest of Kumarakotam. He only wrote Kandapuranam. And Kandapuranam was read out for all the people in the Kanchipuram Kumarakota. So it was a very famous temple, of course. But when on the 19th century, about 18th century, if I am correct, 18th century, the last period of 18th century, when our saint Pamban Kumarakota Swamigal visited Kanchipuram, some or other he missed to visit the Kumarakotam. He was not aware of it. Even though he was a Murugan devotee, and he will be visiting all Shiva temples also. He will be looking at Shiva as a Kumaran himself. For him, Kumaran is Kumara Parameswaran. So, Lord Shiva is having 5 faces apparent, and another one is shielded or not seen. But whereas in Lord Muruga, all the 6 faces are apparently available for darshan. If he is with the 6 faces, he is called Kumara Parameswaran. If he is seen with his 5 faces, of course he is having the 6th face, but shielded, it is not shown. So if he is with the 5 faces, he is called Parameswaran. If he is with the 6 faces, he is called Kumara Parameswaran. That is the difference. So that is his principle, and in his songs he will be stressing this point. Okay, when our Paman Swamigal visited Kanchipuram, he was not aware of the Kumarakota, and he was about to leave Kanchipuram by train to his native place. At that time, one muscular man with white clothes on him, and with the sacred ashes on his forehead, he approached him and he asked him, "Who are you? Where are you from? On what purpose you have been visiting this place?" All these questions he was asking, and some other Paman Swamigal, he was answering him all these questions, and when he got the answers, that man asked him in particular, "You have been visiting all the temples, but have you visited Kumarakotam?" He was asking. Our Paman Swamigal was stunned. Kumarakotam? Is it a Kumaran temple? Yes, it is a Kumaran temple. How can you miss it? I do not know where it is. Don't worry about that. I will take you there. Then he followed him. He took him to Kumarakotam, and at the entrance, our saint Paman Swamigal was astonished. He was thrilled to see the temple. Oh my God, I would have missed this temple. What a historical, famous temple. I nearly missed it. He was about to thank that man who led him there, but he was not there. Surprisingly, he absconded. Then only he came to know, our Paman Swamigal came to know that whoever came is not human. It is our Lord Muruga. This Kumarakotam Murugan came by himself to take him to this temple. So that particular deity that gave darshan to our Paman Swamigal in human form. So that is why in Kumarakotam, that primary deity is a Nidarsana Kadavul, Nidarsana Deivam. You understand? Okay. Now, above all these things, another one thing I want to mention is that our Srimati Arunagirinathar visited Vayalur on the instruction of Lord Shiva and Lord Muruga. Lord Muruga told him, "You go to Vayalur, you have a darshan of me, and start reciting Tiruppugal." He gave the orders. So Vayalur is the place where Lord Murugan asked Arunagirinathar to go over there and start reciting Tiruppugal. He went over there and started reciting Tiruppugal. Kaithala Nerigani, he only sang at Vayalur, the first song. So wherever he goes, he will never forget Vayalur, and he will be remembering and never forgot to mention Vayalur in the Tiruppugal. The Tiruppugal may be pertaining to any other temple, any other place, but he would not hesitate to mention about Vayalur also in the same Tiruppugal. So the Vayalur is having some reference as I am quoting, and Another two temples I want to mention, the primary deities of interest is, one is Tiruchengodu, another one is the Palani. What are the specialities? What are the specialities? In Palani, single face with two hands, that's all. One hand holding dandam, another hand holding on his waist, that is Ukkam Sethiyadoru Kai. He will be having his hand on his waist and he will be holding on his right side dandam. So, this deity is made out of 9 type of special medicinal leaves, 9 type of Navabashanam, that is called medicinal leaves, Pachilaigal, Muligaigal, Marundu Pachilai Muli. So, the Mukher made the main statue out of these 9 types of special leaves or medicinal leaves. So, that is why whenever we do Abhishekam, people will be willing to have the Abhisheka Tirtham, Abhisheka Pal. You understand? So, it has medicinal effect. So, that deity is very, very special, very, very special. And similarly, in Tiruchengodu also, he will be, the Tiruchengodu, he will be holding a rooster. In these pictures, what we have witnessed in the commencing session, at the commencement of session, we saw some pictures wherein he was holding a rooster on his left hand. You understand? Now here, how he will be holding it with a very nice tail along his waist, he will be holding the rooster. And not only that, this main deity has been made out of 9 medicinal leaves. Of course, the only difference between Palani and Tiruchengodu is the main deity's color. There it will be black and here it will be whitish, pure white. If you go, our Arnayanathar says that he is not, he curses Brahman. What this man, what this Brahmadevan has given me only 2 eyes. How can I worship with 2 eyes? I need 4,000 eyes. 4,000 eyes to have full darshan of Lord Murugan in Tiruchengodu. Such a nice darshan, such a nice statue. The whole grace will be emerging from this statue, and he will be giving darshan. And he was wondering, and he was, as a matter of fact, Lord, our Srimad Arnayanathar would have lost his, even what we can conscience itself. He was wondering, he was involved. I do not find any apt words for his feelings. Nalayiram kan padaithilane and the Nanmuhane. Likewise, he is saying in his song Kandaralangaram. So, this main deity, very, very, very nice looking, beautiful, youthful, vigor, whatever you can call, you can add an, or it will be fit for the main deity. So, such a nice darshan the Srimad Arnayanathar was having in Tiruchengodu. These 2 special statues in Palani and Tiruchengodu, they need a special mention. They need special mention, and that is why I just mentioned. Okay. With this, I think I have covered the details of the deities. Some more points I can give. That is, with regard to this Abhishekam, we should not say it as a bath, we should not call it as a bath. it should be mentioned only by Abhishekam. That word cannot be replaced by the English word bath. It's an Abhishekam. The Abhishekam with milk, curd, ghee, all these things are suitable, or he is our favorite for Lord Muruga's statues. And garment, except white, all other colors are suitable for him. The garment, vastram, except white, all other colors are suitable for him, and he will be dressed with beautiful colors, with garments. And Nivedanam, Nivedanam, before that the flower is suitable for him is Kadambu, Vechi, Mullai, Urulpun Tandar. It will be like a tennis ball, you see, Mullai, and then lotus. These are all the flowers suitable for worshipping or puja. Okay. Now, the Nivedanam, the Tinai grain flour, Tinai maavu with ghee, see, with the jaggery. That Tinai maavu is very fond of it, but in lot of temples it's not available at all. Where will they go for Tinai maavu and other things, of course. So, the another Nivedanam which is very fond or favorite for Lord Muruga is Tair Sadam, curd rice. Curd rice is very fond of him. That's what I gather information from the Agamams, and these are all the various details of the deities of Lord Muruga, and I have given the main informations. And if you have opportunities, go to temples. Now, if you go to a Muruga temple, just look at the primary deity and have a detailed look, how many faces he is having, how many hands he is having, what are all the things he is holding, how he looks like, who are all with him. All these details will be, it will be out of your interest, you can get, and you can make a clear darshan of the primary deity. So, with this I think I can conclude this session. Not only this session, this chapter also, Lord Muruga, we are concluding. We are calling him, we are worshipping him like Subramanya, Kanda, Kadamba, Kadirvela, Kumara, Velava, Armuga, Guha, Sharavana. We cannot leave the name Saravanan, isn't it? So, all these names, you just tell, loudly you call him, he will answer your prayers. So, Lord Muruga is graceful and blissful and is very kind, and he is very, very close to his devotees. Okay, with this, let me conclude this session. In our next session, we will start with the primary deities of Lord Shiva. We will start that chapter, and with this, let me close this session uttering the 6-lettered mantra 6 times. I request you to follow me. Tiruchitrambalam. Om Sharavana Bhava, Om Saravana 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 Bhava. Tiruchitrambalam. தென்னாடுடைய சிவனே போற்றி, எந்நாட்டவர்க்கும் இறைவா போற்றி, வெற்றிவேல் முருகனுக்கு அரோகரா. திருச்சிற்றம்பலம்.